business anymore, but it was probably, it's out of business?
It's definitely dead.
Okay, that's tragic. That was a great place. I feel like we did every birthday there, roller skating together. It's a strange thing to do, but we did it. I think the thing that comes to mind when I think about Vinny is that I actually don't remember the time that I met him. It goes back that far. This morning I was writing about the backyard that I think I met Vinny in, and it was this family, the Kettering family. There was this house in between our two homes. It felt like the Pacific Ocean between our two homes, but it was like 3 blocks. And Mrs. Kettering is sitting right there, and I just can't even believe that. It was phenomenal. We met outside. That's what I tell people. It wasn't in school. It wasn't through any kind of function or anything like that. We just met playing in the neighborhood. So growing up, I just wasn't the popular kid. I wasn't good looking or had any particular talents. I was very pudgy and happy and just very nerdy. And Vinny just took me in. He just saw that none of that stuff mattered. He saw that everybody had something to give, and having a big brother like Nick. I mean, he's athletic and. He's got good facial hair and he's the class president and
I think we decided that Vinny won the beard competition.
Yeah, that's right. He had the last laugh on that one, but he just took me in as another kid. He didn't care what I looked like or where I came from. Oh man,
here, I can hold this.
Thank you so much. If it works. Trying to stay on script. I'm sorry.
There we go.
So yeah, I used to sneak through the Kettering's backyard to go and see Vinny and Nick, and most evenings that I would go, I would hear this cry sound, this scream coming from Sid, because he was the pitcher in the family. He would pitch the tennis balls, and then Vinny and Nick would be in front of the garage hitting the tennis balls. And you think of going to the baseball game, there's 60, 70 feet between the pitcher and the batters. But in their driveway, there was 5 feet. So Sid is standing in the driveway
with a glove that was from 1920.
I don't think it was a glove. I honestly think it was a piece of.
You wash dishes with it.
Yeah. That's right. But he would stand so close to the home plate, and he would just toss this tennis ball, and then these guys would just crush it as hard as they could, and I would hear this oh sound come from Sid. And he would be diving out of the way so he wouldn't get hit. And I remember going over there as a little kid and not being athletic at all. And Nick was just you can do that. And Vinny would hand me the bat and he's you got it, go for it. And they would make me play with them. So I was wow, they just want to hang out. They want to give. They want to give this side of themselves to me. And honestly, as we got older and stronger, they started to hit the ball farther and farther and farther until this incredible sound of a tennis ball hitting a neighbor's roof was just very sought after. That sound of it.
I don't know how Paul Spore's roof still exists, or his windows, or why he even let us hit in that way. He was just amazing.
Yeah. Paul Spore's roof has got felt from every tennis ball owned by the Auroras stuck in all the top of the roofs. It's incredible, and I could never hit the ball that far. But it just didn't matter. They kept inviting me over and saying, "Hey, come play. Just come enjoy with us." Coming over to the Aurora's house was an incredibly powerful experience for me. It was a chance to learn about Indian culture. It was a chance to be brought into a world that no white kid in Woodinville would think, oh yeah, my best friends are going to be Indian and I'm going to learn about this entire culture and live in that country for a year of my life and just become, so in touch with it, the food, the emotive qualities of being Indian, the hugs, the head bobbing. I think it's incredible. Everything about Indian culture is incredible. But Vinny had this kind of culture of just knowing the truths of the matter. No matter how old he got, it seems from 15 onwards, he just felt the core of principles that he found genuine. Music were one of those principles. he educated me beyond my parents' 1964 stopping point for listening to new music. Vinny was not critical of their music taste. He just said they needed to keep listening past 1964. There's some pretty good stuff out there. And for him, he was always having these musical conversations with himself and with me. And, if you could imagine a dinner table with the different artists that he appreciated, it would be everything from Coldplay to Frank Sinatra to Khaki King to death metal bands like Lamb of God and, like acoustic metal bands like Dream Theater. I mean, it's an incredibly beautiful sight to know that any type of music, no matter how intense or how slow or what language it was in, what rhythm it had, what instruments were being used, those people were sitting at Vinny's music table, and he was always looking for the next thing. He was always looking for a new sound to try and emulate, to bring to his band, and his band is here today, and that is just incredibly powerful to see. Vinny took a lot of stabs at playing music in public. He was in a band, he played in Seattle, he played at schools, he played all over the place. I didn't. I think that playing music for people is actually an anxiety-inducing event. I try really hard, but I make mistakes and stuff. And so when Vinny and I planned in high school to play a show in front of my entire high school, I was petrified. I was like, no way are we going to get up there and play music for everybody. That's just too much. And Vinny was like, no, this is the right thing to do. You love this song, The Scientist. You love Coldplay. Let's go play it together. Let's do that. And, he didn't have much skin in the game. He's going to a different high school. So, he can screw up and everything, but people would only, jeer at me. But I remember vividly, we went to this committee to get put on the ticket for the talent show in junior year of high school. And it was a multicultural talent show. I went to this strange international school. It was a charter school. And the people that were putting together the program said, we want multicultural acts. We want Bharatanatyam dance. We want to see, Scottish sword dancing. We want to see any type of cultural thing that you can bring us, we're interested in. And Vinny just looked them dead in the eye and he said, we're bringing rock and roll. And it was just it was so Vinny. That's what I'm trying to tell you, is that he's just kind of a vessel for the right thing at the right time. And they looked at him they're just like, yeah, you're on the ticket. We'll see you in a month. And that was a very, very special experience for me to be able to play music with him. And knowing that, I kind of felt like a groupie on tour because he was very good at music and it came to him so naturally. Anything he could pick up, he could play type scenario. And I worked so hard to try and play this music. So to play with him was such an honor. And that night, it just burned in my memory forever. Being alongside my best friend, the rock star, and in front of my entire school. And I just will never really forget that moment with him. He was so special. That's all I have for you today. I found a picture of us on the night that we played together in Galilee. Apparently shorts are in style like Vinny. Look at Vinny. Are you kidding? He looks so good. I'm in basketball shorts. It's no reason to be on stage. But we played together and, we supported one another, and that's what I'll remember most about Vinny. I think, I know the last thing he shared is that, he wanted a miracle, and he was definitely my miracle. He's a really, really wonderful person. So thank you all. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure. I guess the very first thing I want to say is thank you so much for being here with us. It just means the world to to us. And we, on purpose, wanted this to be, and hope that you will also share that thought. We wanted this to be a celebration of Vinny's short life, and in that short lifespan of 29 years, he contributed a lot to, I think, to us all, not just his family, certainly close friends and others he knew or others who knew him. He just, I think Michael said, or was it Nick, I'm not sure, rightly so, that he was extremely warm and at the same time perceptive. So he could get very quickly to the core of whatever it is, the idea that he is or we are grappling with and so on. And he just had a way of reaching to the greatest depths that people search for, and he did too. He searched among his interests, along with certainly sports and music and hiking and that sort of thing that people have mentioned. He also had a side to him that was interested in spirituality. So he did a whole bunch of reading of certain books, such as Bhagavad Gita, and he read a good chunk of the Bible. He went to certain Buddhist retreats and learned about Zen. And he just had this vast curiosity, unquenchable kind of thirst and curiosity about learning, about discovering, about the ultimate truth, about nature, about the universe, I remember him taking a course in astronomy at one time where he just, was very much into it, and frankly, it just happens to be an area that I also have some interest in. So we just took some, evenings together and studied some of the things that were part of his syllabus. And I was just shocked and surprised to see that he was talking about concepts and things that I had never even heard of. And they were covering a good chunk of that, and some of it he was just discovering on his own. Like the exoplanets. Now I think there are probably, a few thousand of them, but in those days it was so new that there were barely, 10 or 15 or 20 of them. But he could talk about that discovery with, some real depth and understanding, and that was Vinny for you. He would just get into it. I mean, I don't have to tell you that he really got into it in terms of music, especially, and his bandmates here, his friends, they can talk about that a lot more than I can. But it was an unquenchable thirst for music that he had, and he learned, he was so dedicated that he didn't miss a single lesson that was scheduled for him, between him and his guitar teacher. I remember taking him to a lot of those lessons in downtown Redmond initially, and then to another place towards Sammamish and so on. Anyway, there were just so many sides to him that were so much, fun, and oftentimes just an eye-opener to see, Vinny's, what? Where did you learn that? How did you get into this? But he really was extremely curious, and like I said, in the short span of life that he had, he managed to, and he literally was driven to learn just a lot more about those topics. I personally, as his dad, just remember a few moments. The little kids, obviously, they run around, they dance, they go in circles and this and that, and we needed plenty of that, of course. And I remember one of the most, vivid memories and pictures that is burned in my head is, just hold this for a second.
Yeah, sure.
Vinny would go Vinny would go like this, maybe other kids do that too. He would just be clapping and just going round and round in circles. And it was just, for the life of me, I couldn't figure out most of the time what is it that he is celebrating, or what made him dance like that. But he was just a happy kid. That's just what he did. Yeah, that was just Vinny. And when he was, even younger than that, Rashmi and I, we would read to him before he would go to bed, and he had such a sharp, skill to listening to the story that if we made, we wanted to get to the end of the story quickly, and if we just skipped a sentence or something, no. That's when Curious George did this. He went to the store next door and told the store owner, and then he would blurt out the whole sentence, and he would correct Rashmi and me all the time in these little stories. So I remember that quite well about him. Anyway, I just want us to remember all the happy and good moments that you might have, and I know most of you have shared with Vinny, and that's the way I want to and will remember him and do justice to his memory. Obviously, we deeply mourn his loss, but we love him, and he is with us and will be with us. So thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. And one thing Vinny used to always say, Mom, I'm going to make you proud one day. And I think he has made me proud. I'm a very proud mother. And thank you, all of you.
All right, wanted to open this up to anyone else who wants to share any stories at all. Yeah, please come on up. Thanks. Sorry, maybe stand here.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Ajay. I'm Vinny's first cousin. This is Narayan, another cousin. We grew up together, childhood friends, all of us. I remember the day that Vin and Nick told us that they were going to be moving to Seattle for a new job. And I remember trying to concoct different ways that we could make it not be so. Maybe we could sabotage with the new boss that hired him, or maybe we could take a kitchen knife to the car tires so they couldn't leave. We literally ran these scenarios in our mind because this was an event that was, one of the hardest ones in my life. I was losing, my two best friends at the time, and I mean, they were just going to Seattle, but when you're 8 years old, it feels like an eternity away. So we grew up doing everything together. I mean, we have a common share, all of us, of playing baseball, playing sports. Christian, if you'd hold that up, this is one of my gloves when I was younger, and it's pretty worn in these days, and thanks a lot to Vin for that. We played everything. We played video games. We stayed up all night, did things we were supposed to do, did things we weren't supposed to do. One thing I will share is Vin actually teach me how to illegally burn CDs. So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have known how to do that, and that was a really cool thing back then to get all those songs on one CD. So he was so funny. Actually, growing up, Niku was the stressed out one, and Vin would always just be there for comedic relief whenever he could. I mean, I feel like his mission was to just make the people around him laugh whenever he could do that, and he was quite good at it. Sometimes he was funny, sometimes he was just acting dumb, but and all the same, it really did make us smile. So I told Nick when I found out the news, basically that these childhood memories that I have, and the times that we shared together growing up. I'm always going to remember these. And although he's not with us today, Vin lives with me every day.
As he said, we grew up like playing sports. I think we lived like all three of our houses were within like a mile, and so we would always just play together. And when I found out that they were going to Seattle, like I know I haven't dialed their house number in 15 years or so, but it's still stuck in my head. It's crazy. I would call them almost every day, and just talk about literally anything. As we grew older, I found out that like Vinny had a deep mind for everything, and I remember maybe like 5-6 years back, I was going through like a pretty rough time in my life. I knew I could call him, and we could just talk about life, about baseball, about anything. And I wouldn't be the person who I am without knowing Vinny. With him and Nick going to Seattle, I knew I liked baseball, but they had a passion for it. And they like transferred that passion into me. Now that's one of my biggest passions. I don't know if I would be a Ken Griffey Jr. fan as much as I am if it weren't for them. It's kind of weird. On last Wednesday, I had the idea of wearing my Griffey jersey on my birthday, which was that like following Saturday. And like when I heard the news, I was like, that's just a very spiritual thing that Vinny would make happen. And that's one of my biggest memories of him being like spiritual. And I remember, I think it was for your birthday a few years back, we all flew up to Seattle, watched a baseball game, and right after the game we went back to the house, and we played a game of Pictionary. And the teams it was me and Vinny, and we didn't think like we would do well. It's like two of us goofs versus like the monsters. I think of Nino Uncle and Nick, and then I think it was Ajay and Sid. And we're like, we're not gonna win. But me and him had the like right mindset, like the same foolish, just absolute geeky mindset that we actually almost won. And I remember there was a very not so it was an innocent picture that I think he was drawing, and he drew like pretty like rated R picture, but somehow like I knew exactly what he was drawing, and we got that one. And it's just the way like our mindsets were, like we just knew how to work as a team, and that never stopped. That absolutely never stopped. Now I live in Santa Cruz, so I try to go to the beach as much as possible. And last night I was there at a bonfire, and it was such a clear night, the stars out, and I was just thinking, like the whole time I was out there, like, Vinny is enjoying this with me. He would have loved that bonfire at the beach with the waves crashing. He loved nature so much. I felt his presence right by my side, and that will never leave. That's for damn sure.
Thanks, guys. Anyone else would like to say a few words? Yeah.
That was a good segue for what Ajay said about these guys moving to Seattle. I didn't really know these kids very much because they moved away. But in the early years, our 3 kids and these 2 guys and these 2 kids, they basically grew up together in the very early years. And I think Rashmi and Donna were even pregnant together with one of ours and one of theirs. And then, and the one memory that stays with me is after that big earthquake in 1989, me rushing home to find out if everybody was okay, and not finding them home, going over to their place. And my recollection, it probably is not true, but my recollection is that both the cars were still going back and forth, and these mothers, the 3 mothers, and the kid were running around like chickens with their heads cut off. But then these guys moved away, and I didn't really stay in touch with Nick and Vinny as I perhaps should have. So that's all.
Ajit, said something very interesting about Vinny. One day, Vinny that was the first experience that he had was like we all say that, our feet fell asleep. And he said, Mom, I had sparkles in my feet. And I told Ajit, and he said, oh my God, this kid had such an amazing imagination. I don't know if you remember that.
Michael, you want to say something? Oh, sorry. Okay.
Hello. Vinny, we love you very much. You are the lovely child of our family. Wait for us. We will come to you and we will play together, and you have to promise me to teach me piano. So I will learn piano from you only. Thank you.
Just want to introduce myself. I'm Vinny's first cousin also. And Vinny, we really miss you. But Vinny, I would not be here where I am if it was not you. For you, you taught me how to drive on a highway. I was very scared to drive. I drove through Las Vegas City with him by my side. I drove without any fear, without any problems, because he gave me so much support, so much courage, that it's unbelievable. I mean, I cannot even express to you. He unconditionally accepted everything. He was such a genuine soul and beautiful divine soul. I'm very touched by the fact that, I knew him. I came to know him well only recently because I'm older than him, of course, and I'm from Florida. I live in Orlando, and I came here, and every time I talked to him, it was like I'm talking to someone divine, someone so pure, someone so beautiful. Like, I have no words to express how I felt about Vinny, and he touched my life so deeply on a soul level. We had such a strong soul connection, and he was one of those people that accepted anyone, just anyone, with all their faults, their weaknesses, whatever you have you. He did not judge you. He never ever said anything that would hurt you, but he was very, very authentic, very, very pure, very genuine, and I cannot thank him enough. I really cannot thank him enough. He has changed my life for good. because now I can drive on highways. And with Vinny, I think about him and I just jump on a highway. And I just drive like I'm a pro at it, like I'm a champion, you know. And he made me a champion. He made me so confident. I was so underconfident. I could not even look at a highway, think about it. It was unthinkable for me to get on a highway, but not anymore. Not anymore. And his parents are witness to that. They've seen me drive on I-280, north, south, you name it, I don't care. It's a highway, I'm going on it. And just to end, the best part is, I miss him, but I wish only the best for him in his new avatar, with the new form. He's already probably taken birth per our Hindu philosophy, and I'm only sending him healing and positive vibes. He will always be in our hearts and minds. And he came to my dream the other day, a few days after he left us in body, but not in spirit, in soul. And he said, "Stay strong, Gitu." My name is Geeta, but my nickname is Gitu. He said, "Stay strong, Gitu. I love you." Actually Vinny's second name is Love. He's love, real love, you know, not anything but real love. And he said, "Stay strong and please don't be sad. I will come back and we will meet again and I will see all of you. And I'm sending lots and lots of love to the family. And please stay strong. I'm not gone. I'm still alive and well, and I'm healed, and I will come back." And I'm pretty sure he's already here somewhere, taken birth as a baby, and we will all meet him, his soul, again. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thanks. I'll just tell one really quick story that I remember I think everybody, and I've heard this multiple times, that Vinny was just their biggest cheerleader about not even just random stuff, but things you never thought you could do. Arbel, one of our friends, was sharing the story about how they were trying out for basketball freshman year, and they were not, exactly superstar basketball players, Arbel and Vinny. They were good, but I guess Arbel was saying that he had these dreams making varsity, and they ended up on the C team. There's varsity, junior varsity, and then the guys a lot of guys still learning to shoot hoops, and so Vinny and Arbel are on the C team, and apparently Arbel was saying the whole season Vinny is like, "Dude, that was crap. You should be on varsity, man." And this was they don't get it. You're like a superstar, And I think Vinny just had that ability with all of us. Things that he saw talent in us, or thought if we cared about something, he legitimately made us believe we could do it, and made us believe that we mattered doing it. And that was just such an incredible thing, and I hope we can just keep living that. So, Mike, you want to...
As soon as I found out, I think on Wednesday, I just started writing down some things I wanted to say. I've known Vinny since, I want to say, 3rd grade or something.
Elementary school.
Elementary. Yeah. Is that better? Yeah, I remember, it's kind of funny, in the neighborhood in Tuscany where we grew up, the house that you guys moved into was my best friend at the time. I was in 1st grade or kindergarten or something, and I was so upset that they were moving and someone else was moving in. And I was like, I'm going to hate this person. We're never going to be friends. And lo and behold, we started hanging out and became best friends. And I just was thinking about it right now, in the winters, we were sledding down your hill in the backyard, and just the budding friendship from there was amazing. I just have some random memories that I wanted to share. I remember when we would study all night long together, making up several AP history write-ups in one stint. We'd save them up because the due dates were flexible, but that would always bite us in the ass at the end at 5 a.m. when we had to go back to school the next day. I remember spending days compiling a 69-page study guide for our APUS history final. And we had done so much prep for it that we just knew it because we'd studied together like back to back. We would sit and discuss bio and chemistry concepts in your study, Sid, and we would just try and grapple with the concepts and understand them at a practical level. And when we couldn't, we had to bring you in to settle the score. One of my earliest creative memories with Vinny was working on a video game that we wanted to make together. We would draw up scenes and environments and started writing the storyline for it. It didn't go very far, but I've never forgotten about it to this day. I still fully intend to build it one day. One time, Vinny told me, dude, one thing about your fat, if you eat less and exercise more, you won't be as fat. He was very pragmatic like that, as I'm sure you guys know. We played baseball together for more years than I can remember. Same with this guy. I would always make fun of him because he could throw it perfectly for a mile, but struggle to throw it from 10 feet away. It's just amazing.
Like fired straight into the ground.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of butts for slap that year, all those years. Nick, you know what I'm talking about.
And he loved imitating the swing of our other friend Danny Meltzer for whatever reason. He like made fun of him so much in his swing. He just always like loved doing it.
He's a legend. Yeah, Vinny was a brilliant musician. One of my favorite memories was one night. It was super late, and we were at your house in the neighborhood, and it was super dense fog, and we decided to go for a walk around just to write some lyrics for a melody he was riffing on. I always felt free with him, like my most creative spirit was present with him. I love making music with him. He would play the guitar nonstop until something decent came out, and we would write and tweak it and so freely, and the music would just form itself. I'm pretty sure Vinny's parents lost a lot of sleep over our noise.
The drums.
And the drums, yeah, they were really patient. Vinny is my brother. Our mentality, our humor, creative spirit, our lives were so intertwined. I felt like I know everything about Vin, and he knew more about me than I ever did, but there's still so much that he left hidden. Vinny was a very special person. He grappled with so many folds of emotion and energy and thought. He always spoke his mind when he didn't agree. I remember him getting all stoic after reading Ayn Rand in 8th grade and being shocked at his conviction. He would talk back to his parents and really deal with things in a completely human way. Hell, he even talked back to my dad with respect, of course, but my dad is not somebody who's an easy person to argue with, so I loved it. It was always honest and it was always real with him. He was one of the deepest thinkers I know and will forever cherish the hundreds of conversations that I know are just spoken to say, I love you, man. He was the one I would turn to when I needed help. When I was struggling emotionally or from a breakup or whatever, he let me see the positive side, that no matter what, no matter how difficult the experience, that you can always look back and cherish the fact that you experienced it and you grew from it. And he was a teacher in so many ways like that. In later years, after I started developing my own mental struggles and anxieties, he offered me some wisdom that I'll never forget. He said, the first thing you should do is have compassion for yourself. And that really struck a chord and still puts me at ease today. I recently read an email that Vinny sent me years back. It was a diatribe, really. And in it, he described his newfound hope for life. We were both in the midst of some major life changes, and he drew parallels between our situations, reminiscing on beautiful times and wanting to get back there to that state where we were both seeing our true potentials. And I'll just share a quote. He said, "I'm not letting myself go down without a fight. I'm not going to let you either. And I got to call things how I see them, even though I could be wrong." And if that's not a true friend, I don't know what is. He never stopped caring. Vinny was my best friend, and I'm sure a lot of people here can say that. Vinny was the one who called my phone the exact moment I thought my own life was ending, and he was there for me in every way a friend could be. But despite all the things Vinny knew, I don't think he knew quite how special he truly was. Vinny was a true artist, a philosopher, and the most courageous person I ever knew, and he loved with every ounce of his heart. I'm so grateful I got to grow up with him and hear his message. Thank you.
It's about 4 o'clock. Okay, was there anyone else that wanted to come say a word? I know we're getting close to 4 o'clock, and yeah, Tushar, come on. And sorry, come on up. If people have to leave, that's totally fine. We'll keep this going for anyone who would like to stay, and then if we get kicked out of here, we'll just move it to the back.
Just a quick introduction. My name is Tushar. I'm the founder of Fly Homes. Vinny had a chance to work with us for 2 years, and one of the first people who came and became a part of the journey when we were not even a company. I met Vinny on, like many others, on a long walk in a blueberry farm at the evening time. In the first interaction itself, we had discussed all kinds of philosophies around the world, and I just knew right away that I wanted to just spend time with him. And at that point, none of us knew what we were doing in real estate. We had never thought about it before. So I said, hey, why don't you go get a license? And he deeply cared about nature and environment. I also used to I still love nature deeply, and so we connected on that as well. And he was going to get an environmental degree, and somehow I tied together the idea that real estate career could be something that he could do with the environment. But meanwhile, this morning when I was flying from Seattle, I saw all these spring blossoms in our house coming out, all the bulbs. And Vinny, nothing was too big or too small for him. He just wanted to help. So in our house, we had gotten these bulbs even before we started working together. And Vinny was like, I'll come plant them all. So he just spent the day planting those with us. And they're all coming out and blossoming, and they're perennials. They'll keep blossoming every year. And I think at the company also, we've grown to 200 some people. But it wouldn't even be a company if it was not for somebody like Vinny, who just selflessly came and served. So I miss him dearly. I really am thankful Auntie and Uncle and Nick 34 shared Vinny with us. His legacy will live on through us as well, hopefully.
Thanks.
Hi, my name's Nick. I went to elementary school with Vinny and also all the way through high school. I just wanted to share a few of my memories. When Vinny and I were in elementary school, we loved playing video games together. One of them was Age of Empires, where you pretend to be an ancient warlord trying to take over other civilizations. But before you did that battle, in order for us to play together, we had to do battle with late 90s networking technology, which was very hard for adults and almost impossible for 8-year-olds. And it required everyone not being on the phone in their respective houses. So Vinny and I would spend a lot of time getting everything working. It was really tenacious, but once we got it, we'd be finally playing, and then someone would pick up the phone and be like, Dad, I'm trying to take over ancient Egypt, not now! So I would just like to say 20 years later, thank you for giving us monopoly on your phone lines. I am completely confident as 8-year-olds we were not properly appreciative of that burden. And they were giving up their phone lines for some of the worst games of Age of Empires that were ever played. Vinny and I were very bad at it. And one way I knew this is we would sometimes play with Nick, and it would be 2 of us on a team against him. And he would destroy us every time because he was a few years older, and at that age that's worth about 140 IQ points. So Vinny and I would be like, I will now build my second Zergling. And then he would just have like 1,000 Marines wash over us, and we had absolutely no chance. Later in high school, I was informally the videographer for my class, and so when I heard the news about Vinny, I started combing through all the hours of footage I had to find some clips for him. And what came out was just this incredibly sweet, funny guy who brought so much joy to the people around him. There was one clip where we were doing our senior prank. One of the buildings on campus was condemned to be torn down next year, so we spray painted it. We spray painted art and slogans and certain symbols that the teachers tried to erase but couldn't find all of. And at one point, people started spray painting Vinny, and he was having such a good time with it. And there's this clip where all the most popular girls in the class are like laughing with Vinny's humor, and he's bringing them so much joy. And I just really admired that, because I strive each and every day to get the attention of the popular girls to laugh at my jokes. So to see Vinny just nail it like that, and of course he would do things like that all the time. There was another occasion when we were having a sleepover, and this was from my homeroom, which he wasn't a part of, but he found out we were having it, and he came over with Michael and Arbel, and they started playing cricket outside in the street. And they were being incredibly loud at 1 a.m. And separately, earlier in the night, I had stolen a girl's keys and moved her car away, and so she was freaking out about where her car was. And Vinny is just screaming during this cricket match, and it's so funny. Like, he's just not concerned at all about her problems. And then eventually they come into the house, and Brian's mom, it was his house, is surprised to see that 3 new boys have shown up. And Vinny says something that was so funny about sort of what they were doing there that night. Brian's mom still repeats that to this day. So to have a line that really sticks with someone is, again, it's really something I admire, that he was so sweet and genuine and really connected with people in that way. And Vinny also helped broaden my horizons. He helped me see things that I hadn't previously seen. When I was in high school, we went to a very progressive school, and so being like down on America is a big part of what we were imprinted with. And one time I was like, oh, America sucks. And Vinny was like, man, I think you should actually reconsider, like, there are some other things. I'm not really going into too much detail about the specifics here, but I hadn't really thought of it. But once he brought that up, I was like, that's actually a great point, and it kind of balanced out my views a little bit. And in elementary school, he also broadened my horizons when I didn't know what a certain slang term meant. And I'm also not going to say it here, but Vinny explained to me what it was. So just getting to, broaden my own horizons through Vinny was a thing I really appreciated. And finally, when we were in high school, there was this one song called So Grandma Wrote a Line by Brand New that is about being 18 and just in love with all your friends. And it was so deeply meaningful to me at the time. And if I were to have listened to it over the past couple of days, I would have been just in an uncontrollably emotional state. And as I'm watching all my clips, trying to find things of Vinny, there's a clip of the last day of class when we're all sitting around the flagpole saying goodbye to each other, and he's sitting there playing that song on his guitar. And it just really hit home for me. And again, it's just how special of a connection he had through his music to the people around him. Thank you.
Can we play the video,
Which one do you want?
I had a video where he was telling a joke, or that was just a really funny video.
Where is your video?
It's on the Google Drive or on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's not on YouTube, sorry. It's on the Google Drive. Maybe we can just play that.
Videos are playing here.
Yeah. Okay.
Your
computer's about to
playing
If you have access to the Google Drive, that would be perfect. Then we can show that.
No, they're all here.
I know we're at 4:00 here, so like I said, if anyone has to go, by all means, or if we haven't had a chance to see you, I guess why don't we? What do you guys think? Should we spend?
If they want,
Come say hi to us.
Anybody who wants.
Okay, all right. So then, let's open this up. If anyone else who hasn't said hi to us wants to come speak with us, we'll go ahead and do that, and maybe find a couple clips that we can also keep playing. But
Nick, come here.
Oh, yeah, just wanted to say again, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you guys all for coming. There are really no words to describe. Nothing can prepare you for this kind of a thing, but what's kept us moving each day and has made us happy is hearing these stories, and being in your presence. And it's just so special. Like, I remember even this story that Nick was telling about Vinny, where they were they went to the homeroom party, crashed it, wearing full kurta pajamas, Indian attire in early 2000s, and are sitting out there playing cricket, and a turban. And then I think at some point they just owned it. They just did it. And I think they went to the neighborhood Indian restaurant later at this place called Haveli. And then Vinny didn't really speak. I mean, he was learning Hindi, he wasn't extremely proficient at it. But I remember hearing that while he was there, he was just trying to talk to people in Hindi next to him. And if he couldn't, he tried to talk in their accent, at least, I guess, to try to connect with them. No one was mad at him for it. They were just we heard that was pretty cool. This guy was trying to talk to us. We met this Indian kid playing cricket here that, made them feel pretty good. So
Is Brian still here, or he left?
I don't know. Maybe he's here. Did you want him to say a few words?
It was such an interesting thing, the high school graduation. Everybody's coming, and I didn't see Vinny, and the last person that I see is Brian, and I said, my God, what happened to Vinny? Where is he? And I see Vinny carrying Brian in his lap. His head was that way. It's everybody was just stunned, and he said that that was an idea he got at the last minute. We just, he was holding Brian in his basically lap, so Vinny could. Yeah, you are right there. That's right, yeah.
He's here.
Oh, he's here, yeah. Because I just saw your head, but not Vinny's head, and I said, oh my God, what happened to his graduation here, where is he, so anyway. You want to come say something, Brad?
Yeah.
Maybe after that, Susan, Oh, Karen, sure, yeah.
So, I'm Brian. I went to high school with Vinny and Huda, Michael, Nick. And I was part of Vinny's band. We went through a couple of different names of our band. The first one was the Red Goblins of Fire and War. It was a pretty aggressive name, so we decided to make it instead a tribute to our friend Danny Meltzer, who we used to go to high school with. And then he was all over the world with his family. So we named our band Meltzer. And we wrote a lot of songs. And by we, I mean mostly Michael and Vinny and a little bit of Arbel as well. I was the singer. I was trying to learn guitar around the same time that Vinny was. But Vinny just took off with his guitar ability so much more than I ever could. His just gifts with music were just amazing. And just the amount of not only gifts, but just the amount of time and the dedication that he had to it as well, just showed. We wrote some amazing songs, a lot of which we practiced in the bonus room at Sid and Rajmi's house, playing very, very loud, as Michael mentioned, way too late. And one of my favorite funny memories of Vinny, or the most profound ones for me, was we were recording a piece of music on his laptop, but he was downstairs and we wanted to unlock his laptop, and it had a password. We're like, oh man, what's the password for this laptop? Well, Vinny had written the password just directly on the laptop, so we knew what it was. But the password was, to me, just the funniest thing. It was Vinny 911. That was the password to the laptop. And that just, for some reason, stuck with me. I thought that was just the funniest password somebody could have for their laptop. That from then on, every password that I have for a system that I've ever had, or a computer or email or whatever, is some variation on Vinny 911. So I actually think of Vinny multiple times a day when I'm logging into stuff that I use for work and for school, things like that. So it's been really powerful to see and hear all of these stories, and just reflecting over the last couple of days on just the impact that Vinny's had on all of our lives. It's been really special. We miss him a lot. We will miss him in the end. Yeah, thank you.
Take care of yourself. Thank you. And at this time, Dot, Susan and Dot, if you please could come up. Yeah, or you know, all of you together is great too. Please, just be careful here as you climb up here, please. And I'm not sure that they need any introduction, but the Pattons here and Susan Kettering, they are, or were, as soon as we moved into the house in Woodinville, our next door neighbors, and their kids, Hunter, Susan's, and Michael that spoke to you, they literally were like brothers and playmates, and they grew up together, so really no introduction is necessary, so I'll stop, and here they go.
Thank you, Sid. I think of Vinny as one of my sons. He always called me Mom Dot, and we had so many wonderful times together, baking cookies, just laughing in the kitchen, always a good time. And he actually loved to stay and have family dinners with us, and we just really have wonderful memories. And we cherished our time together when you'd come visit us at Whistler. I mean, it was very, very special.
Well, I remember so many things too from our many years together. One of the things I do remember, and it was just mentioned a while ago with the video games. Video games were always kind of a special thing. But there did get to a point where Sid and Rashmi kind of had to put the kibosh on the video games. So Vinny and Nick had a great solution. Let's get Michael Patton involved in it, and then we can go over to their house and play, which is exactly what they did. Yeah.
Way to go.
Yeah, way to go. Anyway, there were great times with it. But more recently, and something Michael Caparel said, and I think it's so important when we think of Vinny, he did care. It wasn't more than, maybe a couple months ago. The Auroras had moved to California, but Vinny had come up to Seattle to look after some things on the house. And one night, it was, I don't even remember, it was dark out, and the doorbell rang, which we thought was kind of unusual. And lo and behold, there was Vinny. And we had such a wonderful conversation that night. It was, we knew that there'd been difficulties, and it was special that he took the time to come and see us and just talk with us. And we spent probably 45 minutes just talking. That was something very, very special to us. And we'll never forget that. No. So, and Susan, there were so many times.
I have to say, we did not have video games at our house.
Oh, I remember that.
They came later.
Hunter came and played them.
He was probably obsessed with them at your house, yes. But we did not have them at our house. At that time, they came later. My house was chaotic. I had 4 kids in 4.5 years, so there was much a blur, and I just recall the joyousness that we experienced with all the people that are from Tuscany. That was a new development, so everyone that came in, and I didn't even realize you guys had a former owner at that house. I don't remember who it was, sorry. But everyone came in and lived, brought in their own personal stories and cultures, and it was just a wonderful time to be in that neighborhood. And Vinny and Nick were the most adorable kids. Michael, you were totally cool. I don't know what you were saying. But we had a great time playing around, and it was in the streets late at night in the summer. You know how late it stays light there. And I said to Rashmi and Sid that I think my son Hunter was very high energy, and I met no other person that could match the energy of my son except Vinny. He was a fun kid, smart kid, and they played constantly on the street and each other's houses. I recall one time, I don't know, you probably do, at the time that there were trying to get the kids to bed in the summertime or towards summer was hard because it's so light. And one of the hunters said, there's a balloon outside our window. And I literally opened up the shades and there's a hot air balloon landing in the street outside the house. And everybody ran out of their house, and wherever your balloon landed, you got a bottle of champagne. And I think it was right on the border of your house and the neighbors. And I think it got to the neighbors, and they were Mormon. They didn't even drink champagne. And we're like, what a waste that was. But it was such excitement in the neighborhood, and it was always fun. And Vinny and the whole Aurora family, we were blessed to always to have known them. Thank you. And Vinny's in the heart forever.
Vinny, it's so interesting. When we moved to Tuscany, he came and he said, Mom, there is a woman there, she has invited us all. And then, who is that? That was Susan Kettering,
That was a blur. But it was always fun.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, you guys are great memories.
Do you know if we can get? Do you think it'll work?
Yeah, it'll take me just a minute.
Okay.
So go ahead and say something else.
Karen, oh yeah. Karen, would you like to say anything? Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I'm Kieran. I'm Vin's cousin. You met my brother at the beginning, so we are the California cousins. And all these kind of childhood memories make me think, what was it like when growing up when they still lived in California. And they, Nick and Vin, they're my cousins, but when we all lived together in California, it was like I had two more brothers. I already have one brother. Another family gave me these three others, and then I had these two. So it was me, one girl, and five brothers, and I'm the older of them. And so my memories are like, okay, my kid brothers are doing this again. My kid brothers are doing, they're so annoying, playing baseball and video games. Oh my God. And I have to say that that's kind of what I thought of them, just little goofball boys. They moved to Seattle and came to watch one of my swim meets. And I was 12 at the time, so Vin must have been 6. And still, I'm like, God, these goofball boys, I don't know, maybe 6 or 8, something. But these little kids, they just run around and they play and they jump and they are loud, and I wish I had some girls. And that's my last childhood memory. So fast forward several years to when Vin is an adult, and I see him again, and I'm like, what happened? What happened to this goofball kid who used to drive me crazy? He's this beautiful, peaceful, caring man. And now I'll start what I really was going to say, because it was just such a dichotomy or transition from what I remember as a child to what Vin was as a grown man. And so peaceful and loving was he as an individual. And it seemed to me as an adult that he lived to make others happy, whether that be through his desire to start a school in India, sharing with others his interests of meditation and the natural world, or cooking a fine meal for his family. I remember actually pretty recently, about a year ago, he was visiting my parents in Cupertino, and my husband and I were over, and he decided he wanted to make us some Thai food for dinner. And he took so much care in preparing this meal and found the most fresh ingredients took all the time at the grocery store, and then he just stood at the stove and watched his curry simmer, and every detail about just the right amount of simmering to get the sauces correct. It was clear to me just how much joy he found in caring for us. I think cooking was probably therapeutic too, but I feel like the ability to make a meal for us was what really just lit his fire. And the food he prepared, it was exquisite, but honestly, that feeling of being a recipient of Vinny's love and care is what made that night so special for me. And so this is actually how I choose to remember Vinny, the caring and selfless, loving chef whose meticulously prepared meals could always brighten your day.
Okay, let me get just a little context. Replay this one? Sure, yeah. Okay, yeah, sure. Come on up. Yeah. Oh, wait, then pause. Okay, yeah, we'll let Rakesh.
Garrett wants to say something, Garrett?
Yeah, if anyone else would like to say anything, if you could just come up here so that we we know who would like to speak. Oh, yeah, and then we'll just, there's plenty, there are comfy chairs to sit here with a great view, so you can come hang out here.
Hi everyone, my name is Rashna. We have known Rashmi and Sudhir since about 1983, before the kids were born. But then they moved away, and so I didn't really get to know Vinny when he was a child growing up. But in the last 8 to 10 months, I really got to know him well when they moved back to California. And one day we had a really very interesting conversation about equality, which I was really impressed with his thoughts about how he feels everyone should be treated equally. Homeless people should be treated with dignity, which is really something that never occurs to me, but he really opened my eyes about that, and how he was thinking of spirituality, and for his age to really be involved in things like that was impressive, and we will miss him. He had promised he would make us some Thai food, which I'm struggling with.
Hi, my name is Rakesh Arora. Unlike most of you, I have spoken to Nick to Vinny a total of 1 hour, and it was during Nick and Prasad's engagement party. I just got introduced to him. We started talking, and there was something amazing about him. Like, I was talking to my son, and what he had to say, I said, normal people don't talk like that. And I just felt compelled that I should come and just say that he was a special person. I did not know him. I wish I knew him better. And when I heard people come and talk, I saw some of the pictures. It just told me that God really loves such special people. Yes.
Thanks, Rakesh. Okay, this is a video that I wanted to share, and this is absolutely hilarious. So the context here is that it was my one of my best friends, Abhiram's wedding, and this was 2015, I think, in May. And Vinny showed up for the wedding and didn't know that he was going to be performing in a dance. You know, and I told him, I guess I maybe didn't, or maybe I did. Regardless, he showed up totally unprepared for the dance. So, you know, it kind of went as you would expect. Half of the dance, Vinny was facing one way. Half of the dance, Vinny was facing the other way. The rest of the, dance team was doing something else. And afterwards, I don't know, Vinny and I had this bond. Like, the two of us would just like joke around with each other, and kind of on the spot, for whatever reason. I was taking video. This was at lunch later. And I just started, I guess, pretending like I was interviewing, Vinny as this professional dancer after this dance event. Like, how did this go, and it's amazing. So I just wanted to play that now. Sound?
Post dance. What were you? All right, so Vin, so tell us, how are you feeling post dance? What were you going for?
I just wanted to be professional, just show my craft, just share everyone my gift and my talent.
Okay. All right. So could you walk us through that arc?
I think I accomplished it. I think it went better than I
So could you explain the plan with how you were deciding what moves to coordinate and which ones to deliberately just ignore with the rest of your crew?
It's just a delicate balance of hard work and
knowing which moves to completely
very prepared. The separation is the preparation. My inspiration in my dance, and I think you can see that in my performance. This is really putting the time and.
Staying up all night long.
She knows. She was there. She was coming all the time. So
take that. How you feel about that? That's okay. People are free to not understand and appreciate the true beauty of dads for everyone.
I'll make sure this is very easily accessible. I've watched this like 10 times. You know, it's just amazing. Was there anyone else who wanted to speak? If not, we can play some of this music. Actually, also, if you're thinking of doing that. Okay. Yeah. So really, if but I think we spoke. So we can play.
You want to say something?
No.
I'll just let me see. Nick, did you want to play this one?
Yeah, sure. It's just a few minutes. Just hit play right where it is. Yeah. And then go full screen. All right, you gotta turn it off now.
Yeah, so anyway, she's my sister, who was with him the last minute of his life, and he recognized her and said that, Rakamasi, you do a miracle, and it just so happened that she just got pregnant.
Oh, lovely.
So, you want to say
Should I
something?
play the budget? No, let's play
You
something.
want to say? You can just say hello, everybody.
Good morning. Hello. Okay.
Hello, Raka. Hi, Raka.
Hi, Rakamasi. I'm just putting the microphone so people can hear you. Oh, hi.
So hi. Yeah, I'm actually very, very thankful to everyone who are joining you here, and I'm really, really obliged. This has been a very difficult moment for the whole family, and he was such a sweet child, and there are my friends here who are giving me such a support, telling me that he was such a gentle soul, and he was only given a short period with us, and we are gifted with that small period of time that he has spent with us, and I think everybody is trying to tell me that this time that he has spent with me for 2.5 months that he stayed with me in India, And everybody's telling me that that has been your biggest gift that you could ever have from anyone, and especially from Vinny. And Vinny, ever since he was born, he was so close to my heart. Anytime he would come here to India, I wanted to spend every minute with him. And this time, fortunately, he spent such a fantastic time with me. We used to learn music together. I sent all his audio recordings because that time I thought we will be doing his proper recordings, because he used to tell me that let me master these songs, and then I'll be able to sing properly. And I was only waiting for my retirement, which was yesterday, and I thought from first onwards I'll be working with Vinny the whole day, and we'll be spending all the time together, and then I'll do a proper recording of his songs, which he had learned. He learned 5 Indian rag, which were done so beautifully by him, and the teacher was so impressed. Even yesterday she was asking me, and she was telling me about him. And the other Hindi songs, I think you might have heard, because those songs recordings I have sent to Niku, and he may be able to save, and he may be able to share those songs with him. Yeah. And he was such a quick learner that everybody was amazed. You can see his paintings and you can admire how beautiful work he has done in that short time. He learned so much of Hindi. When he came, he did not know Hindi. He was always carrying Hindi books. And I used to only tell him that I will start speaking and you will learn very quickly. And he actually learned so quickly that he won't use an English word at all. And sometimes when he would just try to process the words, I would just ask him, better say it in English, maybe you'll be finding it convenient. But then he would ask all of us to work and tell us the Hindi words of all the English words that he had to speak, and he would make us speak in the same manner that we were speaking. And the moment he came here, one day Sudhan just happened to say, where is the Angrez? So he says, I'm Indian. I'm Hindu, something like that he said. So Sudhan said, but you don't know Hindi. He says, Mera dil hai Hindustani. So that was his confidence, and the way he said, amazing. Because that was on his very first day when he had dinner with us after singing.
What does that mean in English, Rakamati? My heart is Indian.
My heart is Indian. I am Indian by heart. And the way he spent his time, the way he made us enjoy, the way he was playing his guitar, and he learned harmonium, which he had never played. And his music teacher was really surprised that whatever songs she would do with him, he would start playing all of them on his harmonium. And early in the morning, I would find him playing harmonium and concentrating, and then all those songs. And his teacher was so surprised that he's never played harmonium before, and she's telling him the songs, and he is so quickly playing it on the harmonium. And all these material that I had with me, it was always with him only, and all those things were in his room. And right at the beginning, he used to spend all his time and learning Hindi and working on his music. And in the afternoon, he used to do his Hindi class, and then in the evening, he used to learn painting, do painting. And he used to spend so much fantastic time with the children in the park. These children were beggars, and they were begging in front of the temples. And I stopped them from begging over there, and I told the people over there not to give them any money or anything, because these children won't study, and they would just sit in front of the temples. So Vinny used to play with them. He played gulli danda, he played bante, he played every game that these children were playing. And he used to tell me, Rakamasi, don't tame them, let them be wild. And I used to tell them, beta, they don't even know how to write their name. They don't know how to write numbers. They don't know how to write alphabets.
Rakamasi, I'm gonna show them through these videos now. Yeah, we're just kind of coming to the end of the time, so I'll show a couple of these videos. Yeah.
Yeah, please do.
Good job.
Yeah, so, okay, what we want to do is... Okay, so what we wanted to do at this time, it's kind of a nice transition, is play one of the budgeons that Vinny sang. It's about a minute 30 seconds that he just learned while he was there. And my dad is always so impressed with how in key he is, having just learned this. So what we're going to do is play this, and then for anyone who would like to continue speaking with us, we'll just meet out in the back because we need to vacate the space. And then those who would like to will just be gathering at our place, 501 Forest Avenue, which is only 5 minutes away or so. So anyone is welcome to come, join us afterwards in the parking lot and on there. But again, thank you all, and we'll end with this.
Just wanted to say a quick word about what Vinny sang. It's a very traditional and old Indian song in praise of Lord Krishna. And it begins with a few words in Sanskrit, which are basically a repetition of his name, just taking his name, God's name, if you will, Lord Krishna's name. And then there are a few stanzas after that which go into the lore of Lord Krishna when he was little, as a baby or as a child, and then as he was growing up, and he would play around with what are known as gopis, and then there is a stanza about does Lord Krishna, does God ever go to sleep? Yes, of course he would, if you were singing to him a lullaby like his mother did. So there are some very fascinating words in some of these stanzas that are in praise of Lord Krishna. I just wanted to share that with you. I think many of you followed what the words were, and maybe a few of those, friends who maybe didn't. I just thought that perhaps I would let you know that this was in praise of Lord Krishna. That's all.
Okay. Thanks everybody for coming. We'll close it here now. And like I mentioned, we'll be happy to talk to anyone who would like to out in the back, and then if anyone would like to join us afterwards, we'll go to our place, 501 Forest Ave. So in Palo Alto, 5 minutes away. So thank you everybody. We love you all, and let's